All right, folks. Joe Biden, yes, our president, the president of the United States, just made one of the most savage and brutal statements that I think any president could ever make, especially considering the context by which he made the statement. Now, before we get into that statement, before I play the video of him making that statement, let me provide for you a little bit of context. He was asked a question by a reporter. You're going to hear the question, by the way. By the way, as you know, this is the mainstream media, so this is a reporter who absolutely loves and embraces the murder of children, right? The murder of babies. That's what abortion is. Nonetheless, Joe Biden gets asked a question about the new Texas law that was just passed. By the way, awesome for that law to be passed. It was actually upheld in the Supreme Court. It's great news. The law prohibits abortions pretty much beyond 6 weeks, maybe even as early as 4 weeks. The idea sort of lays in between whether or not you can detect a heartbeat. If you can detect a heartbeat, you cannot abort the baby or murder the baby is what I like to say. By the way, I'd prefer for it to be a total ban, but I think that's coming soon as long as we uphold these types of rules. It's very, very important that we think these things through, and the great state of Texas clearly has. It's a wonderful thing. Now, I want you to pay attention to what the reporter is going to do. The reporter is going to ask the president about what he can do to overturn or overrule the law. Nothing about what your actual thoughts on the law are, more about what are you going to do about the law? That's kind of the question. And then I want you to pay attention to the president's answer because it is brutal. Folks, I'm not kidding you. It is brutal. Let me set this video up so that you can see it because it is really, really bad. But pay attention to what the president actually says here when he's asked the question.
On abortion rights in Texas, sir?
Pardon me?
One question on abortion rights in Texas, sir. What would be your message to women in Texas, and what can your administration do to protect abortion rights on a federal level?
I'm late for going down. I'm going to talk about these things from Louisiana, but I have been, continue to be, a strong supporter of Roe v. Wade. Number one. And the most pernicious thing about the Texas law, it sort of creates a vigilante system where people get rewards to go out to, anyway. And it just seems, I know this sounds ridiculous, almost un-American.
There it is. He called it un-American, a law that saves the lives of innocent babies. It's actually un-American. He says it's vigilantism when you, as a state, reward people for turning in murderers. In other words, you have knowledge that somebody's about to break the law and kill a baby, and you turn them in. Now, is it vigilantism when I turn in somebody who just committed a murder? Is it vigilantism when I turn in somebody who committed a burglary? Is it vigilantism when I turn in somebody who I know just committed a rape? The mindset and the mentality of the man who makes a statement like this is absolutely obscene. It's amazing to me, by the way, that Joe Biden is actually referring to something like that as un-American, when in reality, he says that the amendments to the Constitution are not permanent. Un-American? Let's talk about un-American for a second. I think it's un-American to leave American citizens behind in Afghanistan, knowing full well that you were going to do so. I think it's un-American to hand over $85 billion worth of our equipment, our modern military tools, to an enemy who we know will use it against this great country. You want to know what else is un-American? The fact that the president continues to put us in a position of weakness all around the world. But let me tell you something that is un-American. Even more beyond any of the other things that he's been talking about and doing. The fact that he continues to rule as a ridiculous dictator by signing one executive order after the other. That's un-American. But let me tell you what's more American than anything: defending the precious lives of babies before they come out of their mother's womb. That's more American than anything that I can think about. Because we are defending the weak and the vulnerable. That's what America does. Christians especially, it's time to wake up to evil men like this president. It is time to wake up to the truth, to recognize what's going on around us. And it is time to be verbal. It is time to use every legal avenue that we can to stand against this. And it's time more than ever to fight like we never have before, using every moral, ethical, and legal tool provided to us to make sure we stand for righteousness and to prevent this kind of evil from happening. That's what we need to do, folks. That's the American thing to do. Stand for righteousness because this nation was founded upon biblical principles. God bless you.